Over 100 years of horse racing history. And your home for what's happening today is Tommy Walski's Sport of Kings. Today, we'll meet one of Hastings' top riders. Stephanie catches you up on all the news. We'll look at a profile of swaps. Tommy will recap some of the major stakes in racing across the nation. Our salute to the champions is the 2007 Belmont Stakes. And now here he is, BC's ambassador to the world of horse racing, Mr. Tommy Walski.
During the course of my career as a jockey, I've had the chance to ride with some very impressive jockeys. Among them is one of the top riders here at Hastings Racecourse. That's Richard Hamel. And as you're about to learn, he is quite the inspiration, not only to myself, but hopefully to the other riders in the Jockey.
I started riding in '87 in the bushes up in the interior. Rode there for a year, and '88, and then I went to Sandown in the fall, and '89 I started here in Vancouver. And Larry LaCourciere, my nephew, he's actually, his sister and her husband, they started me in the horses. I was living up in Terrace and I was getting in a bit of trouble, so my mom sent me out here to live with them on the farm and start working with the horses and that.
You mentioned the bushes. It's a place where riders get started. How tough is it there?
Well, it's a little different up there. The horses aren't usually as well schooled as a rule as they are here. When I first started, they had a lot more race days up there. I rode in Kamloops, Vernon, Princeton, Osoyoos. There was a circuit that went around to all those different little towns, and that. It was a lot of fun back when I was a kid.
What about demons,
Well,
especially yours?
It's a lot of riders. It's a mental game as well as a physical game, because you get a lot of ups and downs in this business. When you're not doing very well, it really works on your mind. And a lot of times riders will just get involved with drinking or drugs, and just to try and escape everything, you know, just try and get it out of your head. So you get into drinking, and then it just gets a hold of you. I decided that I was just tired of living the way I was, and I put myself into a treatment center, and I never really realized how bad I was until now, because I really enjoy life now. I mean, I get out of bed every morning, I have a lot of fun. I don't drink, I don't feel like drinking. It's great, it's incredible. I didn't think I could ever feel like this, you know, it's just unbelievable.
How much thought does go in a race? You only got a minute and a half sometimes.
That's where experience comes in, because you don't get a chance to think. It's all automatic reaction. You just did action and reaction. That's what you do. Everything is you just got a kind of a program in your head, and okay, this situation's coming up, and okay, you got to work fast. It comes quick. You got to do, things happen so fast out there, you just got to go. You got to go with it. And sometimes you make the wrong decisions where you should go in instead of out. But that's horse racing, right?
Do you handle losing differently now that you've been straight and clean?
Yes. Actually, for me, I just enjoy riding. Like, if I get to ride nice horses that are fun to ride, you know, that try. You know, I really enjoy riding a horse that tries. If he doesn't win, then whatever. But if he's down there running and I can really get with him, and you know, it's working. And I've learned about horse so much that I can feel when a horse is giving it to me, and that's all you can ask. You know, as long as they're giving it to you. But when they're not really trying for you, you get a little discouraged.
What's it like in the Jockey here at Hastings?
It's good. It's competitive. Right now, there's a lot of young riders in there, and they're trying to learn. It takes a lot of. It's difficult because it's a bull ring. The 5/8 is a very difficult racetrack to ride on, because there's so much that can happen out there. Getting in position is a difficult thing from the gate. Positioning yourself for the turns, knowing which is going to happen here at certain points in the race. just trying to keep yourself out of trouble is a hard thing, and that's where this is a good jockstring to learn, because there's some guys in here that will help you, and like myself, I try and help these kids out when they do ride a bad race. I do say, well, this is what you should have done, and this is what, you know, you'll get a better result if you do certain things this way. I'm always learning, you know. It's I always watch, you watch a successful rider, and even in their life, you just watch how they do things, like their morning work, their attitude towards people, how they deal with things, and you know, success. If you surround yourself with success, then you become successful. I've got Drew Forster as an agent right now. They're very important. You pretty much have to have one, because there's so much going on. You have in the mornings where you have to be on the horse's back, and they have to be able to be out and talking with the trainers, and in the afternoon they have to be in the grandstand talking with the owners, and just trying to keep up on everything.
Two trainers come to my mind that you have a good working relationship, and I hopefully personally. Jim Brown?
Jim's been really good for me this year. We've worked well. I do a lot of morning work for him, and we can connect together quite well. He's got respect for me as a horseman, so I can give him good feedback on his horses.
Do a lot of riding for a pretty successful trainer, Dave Forster. What's he like to ride for?
Dave's actually been a really good guy to ride for lately. He understands, you know, when, like you say, you can make mistakes out there, and if you're honest with him, he accepts it, right? And you know, he sees how the races, he's been around forever, so he knows how races are run, and he knows that the horse has got a big involvement in it, so he doesn't put a lot of blame on Jockey when it's not necessary. But like I say, you know, it's easy to make a mistake out there, and that's the biggest part, is trying not to make mistakes.
What would you like to see for Richard?
Just to be leading rider here one day. That'd be fun.
Don't go away. The Sport of Kings will be right back.
Today on our Racing Across the Nation part of our program, we're going to be showing you some of the best races seen throughout North America. Races that you can only catch if you're watching the Sport of Kings. First up, you're going to be at Belmont Park. You're going to be watching in the outstanding field in the Grade 1 $400,000 Manhattan Stakes. Two horses you want to watch are the number 7 horse, Better Talk Now, ridden by Rafael Dominguez. And when you see this ride, you will be impressed. Competition, English Channel. Enjoy, because this is an exciting horse race.
And around the far turn, Cosmonaut and Red Zipper. They have been head-to-head the whole way, and they're still that way as they come to the top of the stretch. Kiss the Kid on the outside. English Channel will need some running room as they come to the top of the stretch. Jockey and Steppenwolfer. Better Talk Now, 5 lengths behind, and the field turns for home, and Cosmonaut's got the lead. It's Cosmonaut in front by a neck. Red Zipper fights on. English Channel 2 lengths behind with 1 furlong to go. Better Talk Now coming with that patented late run of his, and on the far outside, here is Jockey. They're coming to the finish. Better Talk Now, Jockey, Cosmonaut, and English Channel. A blanket finish.
Next, we're still at Belmont Park in New York, another Grade 1 race. You're going to be watching the $250,000 Woody Stevens Stakes. It's run at 7 furlongs. It's for 3-year-olds. In this race, you want to watch the 7 horse Teufelsberg. Reason why you want to watch him is, if you remember, before the Kentucky Derby, this horse was bought for $9,000 as a yearling. Prior to the Derby, his owner turned down $3 million, but in the Derby, he finished 17th, beating 35.5 lengths. Let's see what he does right now.
It's Stormello who blazes the way toward the top of the stretch. The half was 44 4/5 seconds, and Stormello's opened up a 3-length lead. Most Distinguished moves to second. Bill Place through on the inside third. Off the turn into the stretch, gaining quickly on Stormello. On the outside, Most Distinguished, and Teufelsberg has rallied from last. Teufelsberg on through on the rail. On the outside, Most Distinguished, and Stormello, and they're coming down to the finish. Teufelsberg, a last to first win. Teufelsberg by 2.
Next is the final race on our Racing Across the Nation segment, and it's a pretty good one. You're going to be back at Belmont Park in New York. You're going to be watching the $250,000 Acorn Stakes. It's for 3-year-old fillies. In this race, you're going to be watching Todd Fletcher's Cotton Blossom, who's number 4. And if you remember, later in the day, Todd Fletcher won the Belmont Stakes with another filly, Rags to Riches.
Princess Janie's in an all-out drive trying to catch her. Boca Grand, third toward the rail. Christmas Kid, Cotton Blossom on the far outside. Turning for home, it's still Dream Rush in front. Garrett Gomez is looking around for competition. But it is Dream Rush with a 2-length lead. Now he's asking her for more, and she'll need more because here comes Cotton Blossom on the outside of her. There's 1 furlong to go, and it's Dream Rush as Gomez goes left-handed. Here comes Cotton Blossom, who's right at her throat latch now, 100 yards from the finish, and Cotton Blossom surges past to win the Acorn.
And now, to get you up to date with all the happenings in and around the track, let's saddle up with our own Stephanie Mercier.
Last week in the U.S., HBO debuted a documentary on 2006 Kentucky Derby winner Barbaro. The film recounts the winner's life before and after the tragic events at Pimlico and has received rave reviews. It will continue to be shown on HBO up until July 8th and will hopefully be aired in Canada very soon. Tomorrow is Father's Day. The Sport of Kings team caught up with Director of Operations Raj Moody to find out about the grand plans that Hastings Park has to celebrate dads.
We got something really neat going on this year. We have a $118,000 hole-in-one challenge where we draw 10 fathers on Saturday and 10 on Sunday. It's a partnership with CKNW. They have to make a 160-yard golf shot. If someone makes it, they get 118 grand. So it'll be pretty neat promotion. We have a KP prize of $1,000. So for the closest to the pin, all the 20 contestants win a wagering voucher as well for taking part. So pretty neat little promotion we wanted to try this year.
Last week we told you that True Metropolitan had run at Woodbine in the Dominion Day Prep at 1 1/8 miles. This week we thought we would show you the whole race as his finish was so impressive.
True Metropolitan, Shillelagh Slough, a little closer to the pace initially. And we have a Sextet and a Last Answer, followed by Colorful Judgment and Just in Case Jimmy as they move in front of us for the first time. And True Metropolitan was set to the front by Todd Cable. Will try to go it all the way on the front end. And it's True Metropolitan. Watched closely by Shillelagh Slough. Dino Luciani angles that one off the rail through an opening quarter in 23 3. Then there's 3 to Last Answer in third. 5 more to Sextet, the 2 trailers. Colorful Judgment and Just in Case Jimmy. And they're into the backstretch. And Cable trying to ration the speed of True Metropolitan. They lead it by a tight length over Shillelagh Slough through an opening half mile in 47 2/5. Midpoint of the backstretch. It's still True Metropolitan on an easy lead, watched very closely by Shillelagh Slough. Ramsami's not letting them get away with Last Answer, back in third and 4 off the lead. Then a large break to Sextet, Colorful Judgment, and Just in Case Jimmy. They're into the turn. True Metropolitan got 3/4 of a mile in 1:11 2. And it's True Metropolitan just cantering along and starting to widen on Shillelagh Slough. Luciani's asking his 4-year-old for more now. Last Answer is put to a drive in third, and just cruising out there on the lead is True Metropolitan. Little more than a workout right now with 1 furlong to go. Last Answer closes on the inside and the outside, Colorful Judgment, and Shillelagh Slough is in between horses. Final 16th of a mile. And last year's older male champion, True Metropolitan, scores an easy win here in the 4th, defeating Colorful Judgment and Last Answer.
We caught up with trainer Terry Jordan to ask him about Metro's future.
His next race will probably be July the 1st in Toronto, the Dominion Day it's called. And he come out of this race very, very well. As a matter of fact, we got to train him tomorrow again because you can't even control him right now. He's just really pleased with himself. You know? He's more pleased with himself than I am.
I've heard of agents for sports players, but for a trainer? Carl Navsger, the trainer of Kentucky Derby winner Street Sense, recently hired an agent to help him deal with his newfound media attention. The agent, Mark Neslin, has already lined him up to be a keynote speaker at the National Cutting Horse Association Convention on June 22nd in Lexington, Kentucky. Today is the $125,000 Alberta Derby in Stampede Park in Calgary at 1 1/16. The race should be a great one and especially interesting to fans here in Vancouver, as it will see many Hastings horses compete, including Marta Racing Ventures' My Guy, Harold Barraby's Mighty Cahill, and Swift Thoroughbreds' Scott's Pine. That's all for this week's news in horse racing. From the winner's circle here at Hastings, I'm Stephanie Mercier, and now you're back on track.
Time now for Sport of Kings trivia, and here is today's trivia question. Two very famous American horses both won their last starts in Canada. One of them was Secretariat. Tell me the other. We'll have the answer for you in just a moment. Don't go away. The Sport of Kings. We'll be right back. Time now for the answer to today's trivia question. Man of War is the horse we're looking for. The final start of Man of War's illustrious career came in Windsor, Ontario in the Kenilworth Park Gold Cup.
On our next feature, we are proud to present a look at one of the greatest racehorses of all times. That would be Swaps. During his career, Swaps was raced by his breeder, Rex Ellsworth. He was trained by Mess Tenney, and he was ridden by a close friend of mine, the late, great Bill Shoemaker. We know you will enjoy a look at this remarkable horse. Seldom seen except if you're watching the Sport of Kings.
The battleground was to be the $100,000 Californian Stakes, and the Hollywood Park paddock was crowded with celebrities. A film was being discussed with Gary Cooper to play Rex Ellsworth, and General Omar Bradley was the ranking member of the many Swaps admirers present that day. Swaps would run with jockey Dave Erb substituting for regular rider Bill Shoemaker, suspended for a minor riding infraction, and would be meeting older horses in early summer, usually considered a disadvantage to 3-year-olds. None of it mattered. Dave Erb was an able substitute for Shoemaker, and Swaps collared the pace-setting Mr. Gus when he was ready and did what he had to do to hold off the late charge of Determined. Swaps stopped the electric timer in a new world's record of 1:40 2/5 for the 1 1/16, and seemed to have plenty of unexpected energy left as he returned to an ovation. If ever one thoroughbred provided national attention for a racetrack, it was Swaps for Hollywood Park. And just after his retirement from racing, a statue honoring the beautiful chestnut was dedicated at the Inglewood track. He had earned the tribute. Speakers at the ceremony recalled Swaps' Horse of the Year campaign in 1956. In the Inglewood Handicap that year, he carried 130 pounds and gave 15 to Mr. Gus and 9 pounds to Bobby Brocato. Mr. Gus would beat Nashua in the Woodward that year, and Bobby Brocato had just won the Santa Anita Handicap when Swaps was injured and could not compete. Swaps' very way of going seemed lighter, requiring less effort than other thoroughbreds. Though not really extended, he ran the 1 1/16 Inglewood in world's record time of 1 minute 39 seconds flat. In the Gold Cup at 1 1/4, Swaps at 130 gave Mr. Gus 13 pounds and Porterhouse 20, as Langolan Stables' pair attempted a double team effort. Many horses we called great have failed to carry 130 pounds to victory. The great Citation never won with that much weight, and Nashua, arch rival of Swaps at 3, was always defeated with as much as 130 pounds up. Swaps carried 130 pounds 6 times and won. When he was healthy, nothing seemed to matter. He was as supple and handy and graceful as a greyhound, and when, after holding him in tight restraint, Bill Shoemaker finally let him run, Swaps' acceleration past good horses was exhilarating. When retired, Swaps held the largest collection of world speed records in history, 5, from 1 mile to the 1 5/8 miles of the Sunset Handicap. It was his last start at Hollywood Park, and it was a romp. Although there were 9 horses in the Sunset field, only win betting was allowed, a dubious practice never again allowed by the California Racing Commission. Of course, Swaps had reduced the competition to near unknowns, and Shoemaker let him float along on the lead from wire to wire. The memory of that incredible season of 1956 still uplifts those he touched. It was but a few weeks after this peak of brilliance that he fractured his left hind leg in a mishap in New Jersey and barely survived. After weeks in a sling and a long recuperation, Swaps lived to sire champions, but none as good as he. So the statue stands for courage and class, as well as superior performance. He made his farewell to racing at Santa Anita, where he was never defeated. With Tenney on the pony and Shoemaker up, Swaps proudly paraded on a gloomy day befitting the occasion.
Don't go away. The Sport of Kings will be right back.
On our Vancouver Providence Salute to the Champions, we take you back only 1 week. You're going to be looking at perhaps one of the classic Belmont races in history, and that would be the 2007 Belmont Stakes. It brings together the 3-year-old filly trained by Todd Fletcher, Rags to Riches, and her gallant effort to defeat Curlin in the late stretch. Let's take a look at this race. We'll go once again be called a classic.
The Salute to the Champions is brought to you by the Providence Sports, where you can read horse racing columnist Tommy Walski every Friday. The Providence Sports and Tommy Walski. It all starts here.
And they're off. Oh, and the filly bobbled at the break. Rags to Riches stumbled coming out of there. And CP West comes out in stride. Sluice Tizzy is there. Hard spun to their outside. And then farther back it's Curlin. And Rags to Riches out in the middle of the track there. Then Tiago and I'm a Wild and Crazy Guy. So they make their way for the first turn. And Edgar Prado will keep CP West well off the rail. Sluice Tizzy is very eager to get to that lead on the outside. Curlin up close today through the opening quarter that was a tepid 24 3/5 seconds. Hard spun is right alongside Curlin. And it's 2 lengths back. And the filly Rags to Riches is 5th. Followed by Tiago at the rail, and 7 or 8 lengths back to the trailer. I'm a Wild and Crazy Guy who's just lumbering along in the early stages of this 1.5-mile classic. So they make that turn into the backstretch run. The pace has been sensible the opening quarter mile, and the half was 50 seconds flat. It's just a bit of a crawl here in the early stages of the Belmont, and Sluice Tizzy is the leader. Sluice Tizzy in front, CP West right there. Hard spun, up close, hard held while third. On the inside is Curlin, just inside of the filly Rags to Riches. Tiago is only 5.5 lengths from the leaders. 7 lengths back to stretch running I'm a Wild and Crazy Guy. 3/4 of a mile in 1:15.1. Now the field is approaching the far turn. A long way to go yet. CP West, the riders have been very patient, not making a move. There's 5 furlongs to go. Their positions relatively unchanged. CP West the leader. Sluice Tizzy is second. Hard spun's in a perfect position on the outside. Curlin could get bottled up on the inside. Rags to Riches in the clear 5th, only 3 lengths from the lead. And Tiago is beginning to roll now. He's only 3 lengths from the front. They're midway around the far turn. 5 of them within 4.5 lengths of each other. And the leader is CP West. Nothing left for Sluice Tizzy. Here comes Hard Spun. And Curlin is coming on through in between horses. And Rags to Riches is coming with a 4-wide sweep. And Tiago is in behind them. And at the top of the stretch, a filly is in front of the Belmont. But Curlin is right there with her. These two in a battle of the sexes in the Belmont Stakes. It is Curlin on the inside. Rags to Riches on the outside. A desperate finish. Rags to Riches and Curlin. They're coming down to the wire. It's going to be very close. And it's going to be a filly in the Belmont. Rags
to riches, has beaten Curlin and 100 years of Belmont history. The first filly to win it in over a century.
Well, that's it. On behalf of the Sport of Kings crew here, we would like to say thank you for allowing us to spend this last half hour with you on this Saturday morning. Have to tell you one thing, we want to thank you all for making the Vancouver Children's Hospital Miracle Maker Telethon a success. 2 things to leave you with. Remember, you're going to have to learn to keep them straight, and also, you know what, we are going to get you finally on that final turn.